Yeah.
So last thing on my agenda is Tyron Woodley.
Yeah.
So a couple things on Tyron Woodley. So we obviously haven't seen him fight since Kamaru. He was supposed to fight Robbie, hurt his hand, and he's been kind of up in the air now, right? In limbo, like what's going on with him, right? We threw out whether it'd be smart for him to fight Leon Edwards or not.
Mm-hmm.
Santiago Ponzinibbio had called him out also. Santiago Ponzinibbio is fighting Robbie Lawler now.
Yep.
But Tyron Woodley said, I really wondered to myself, like, what goes on with Tyron Woodley now? Because he's 37. He got dominated by the champion, right?
He did.
I really wondered, like, what does the rest of his career look like? Does he fight one more fight and get his title shot again and fight? And if he wins that title, does he defend? Like, it's not his fighting style. I mean, he relies so much on explosiveness and power and stuff. You have to, and at 170, like, you have to wonder, like, what his age is gonna do to him as a fighter, right? So now he comes out and he says that he wants to fight Kamaru and Colby, which I'm fine with. I'd like to see those fights too, and if those are his last two fights and then he retires, that makes sense. I can see that. But he says he wants Kamaru and Colby, and then he wants to go up to middleweight, which brings up a ton of questions for me. Let's say hypothetically he does fight Kamaru, he wins, and then he like defends against Colby. Is he really already putting it out there that he would win the title, get one title defense, and then book it? I mean, that's not a really great way to sell yourself for a title fight, as GSP.
Well, maybe he wants to be that double champion that everyone seems to be wanting to do lately.
Maybe
that interests him.
Yeah.
Being a 2-division world champion.
And you'd have to wonder, right? Would beating Kamaru and then Colby get him an immediate title shot at middleweight?
It will depend on what the people want.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of buzz for that, I can see the UFC making that fight.
Yeah, it depends on how that middleweight division plays out too.
Yeah.
But this is where you and I were kind of going back and forth before we started this. What would Tyron Woodley look like at middleweight? Right? For a lot of guys not doing that weight cut, and we know Tyron doesn't have an easy time getting down to 170.
Yeah.
What would he look like at middleweight? Me personally, I think it would not look good for him at all. I think in the top 4, I think those are all terrible matches for him. I think Robert Whittaker trashes him. I think Israel Adesanya does. I think Paulo Costa knocks him out in the first round. And if we ever saw him versus Yoel Romero, I don't think that ends very well either. So the only guy that I haven't mentioned that I should have mentioned in those names right there is Kelvin Gastelum, who he has fought before and barely did beat him in a split decision.
Yeah.
And this is a much improved Kelvin Gastelum who's now grown comfortable into the middleweight division. Yeah. So to me, and I hope to God, right, this would be amazing if he proved me wrong, but I don't see a move to middleweight being an interesting decision for him to make. Unless, the way that we discussed earlier with Cowboy, it depends on what his goals are. If his goal is to go to middleweight to go fight for a title, then I don't think that plays out well. Yeah. I just outlined that. If he wants to go to middleweight and just fight at middleweight and fight like a fun fight at middleweight, then sick. Yeah. I'm down for it.
I think it's just unfair that you're writing him off.
Okay.
Because we've never seen him at 185.
Okay.
And like, better than anyone. Yeah. Like, MMA is such a crazy sport. Anything happens. Yeah. Right? Like, you were super wrong about this last fight with Glover.
Yeah.
How do you know if you're not going to be wrong with Woodley?
Because when I was wrong about Glover, it was mostly like a...
He's done.
Like a stylistic
okay
thing. When it comes to Tyron, there's... My reason for picking against Tyron going to middleweight are... I have more reasons than to pick against Glover in the last fight. I don't know. What do you honestly think? How do you honestly think?
So when you mentioned this to me, I said I don't mind him going to moving up to the higher weight division, because I like the fact that guys want to challenge themselves.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Like, I like that.
Well, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying.
There are tough fights for him. Absolutely. Paula is a tough fight for him. Let's Israel's a tough fight for him. You know what? Actually, out of those 3 guys, I like the matchup with him and Israel. Paula's a nightmare, I think, for him. That guy is a fucking beast. Yoel is a nightmare for him, I feel like. Yeah. Beast. Kevin Gastelum is a nightmare for him. Beast.
Okay.
Robert Whittaker, I think, would be a very tough matchup for him.
Yep.
Israel would be the only guy where I'd be like, you know what? it's not that bad. So I'll give him a shot.
That's interesting.
But like I don't know. It's just like he's such a big guy. Like he's small as far as height, but he's pretty massive. Like that guy has like if you see his legs are fucking massive.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he hits like a truck.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he kicks like a truck.
Oh yeah.
If he looked anything like his last fight, then good Lord have mercy on him.
Yeah.
But then like we can't just judge him off his last fight.
No.
Maybe that was a bad night for him, right? The fights before that, he's fought a 185er. He's fought Darren Till. And look what he did against Till.
Yeah.
He put him to the ground.
Yeah. And Darren Till's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Yep, he is.
Big fucking guy.
Yep.
Right? So, like, let's not write him off yet.
Okay.
Let's just see how if he makes the move,
Yeah.
let's give him a chance. Okay, let's see what happens.
Okay.
If he gets starched, then okay.
So from the top 5 guys, you think that he has the best shot versus Israel Adesanya?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
I think so, yes.
Interesting. That'd be a fun poll.
The reason I say that is because like I look at Paula, like those like even Urwell, those are easily 205 guys.
Yeah, they're
easily
huge.
205.
Yeah.
Like those, like you mentioned it, like I don't know how they're getting past Yosada. I don't know, but
Right.
those guys are huge.
Yeah.
And like we were there seeing them live,
Yeah.
right? Like their heads were way above the cage. Like
Yeah.
those are big fucking guys.
Yeah, they are.
You know what I mean? So like those guys are okay. Like that's a tough matchup for him.
Yep.
Israel's such a skinny guy.
He is.
He kind of reminds me of Michael Venom Page. Like his build.
Oh, okay.
His build,
Yeah,
right? But Michael Venom Page got caught.
he did.
And I can see the same thing happening to Israel.
Okay.
He got caught.
Okay.
Because he got caught in a couple punches against Kelvin,
Yeah, he did.
right?
And
that could have easily took him out.
Kelvin's not much bigger than Tyron.
No.
He's not.
No. And you mentioned that they fought before
Yeah.
at 170.
Yeah, at 170.
So my thing is, how does Tyron look with the 15 extra pounds?
Okay.
We don't know.
No.
Because at times it can be an advantage for you not having the weight cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Especially for bigger guys.
Yep.
Now they have the strength again.
Yep.
So I don't know what he looks like at 185. If he does, it's a great challenge for him, and it'd be interesting to see how he performs at the higher weight division. But I just don't want to write him off quickly. He's a champion. He was a champion. He's had amazing KOs.
Yep.
I can't remember the guy, but the guy with the blonde curly hair.
Oh, Josh Koscheck. Yeah, that was
Every time I
vicious.
see that
Oh,
fight, man,
makes
what he
me
did to
cringe.
him. Yeah. He put him to sleep.
Yeah.
But like he's had moments where he put, and even Robbie Lawler when he
Yeah.
won the belt,
Yeah.
he's had moments where he put guys to sleep. So I think we owe it to him to at least give him some form of respect to see,
sure.
okay, let's give him a chance. Let's not write him off too quickly.
No. And to his credit, you said about Kamaru, right, that he
It could have been a bad
it
night
could've been-
because he looked so untiring.
I think it's more likely than not that it was a bad night. You know, he said it, right? He said it, but of course a fighter's going to say that he had a bad night after he lost.
Right.
But I think just looking at him, I think it's almost undeniable that something just wasn't
exactly.
right, you know?
Because like when you look at that fight and then you look at the previous one with Till, two completely fighters
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Right. He didn't look motivated, and he was just getting pinned to the cage and dominated by Usman.
Yeah.
And
He didn't. Yeah. It was weird.
it was very weird,
Yeah.
very weird. And I wonder if it was just a bad night, if something happened mentally for him, he just wasn't there. I don't know.
Because like, you know, and of course this is just pure speculation, but like we talk about the deer in the headlights look that people get when they fight Khabib, right?
Mhm.
To me, like when a fighter looks like that, they're freaking out because they're like, what the fuck do I do? Because I want to win this fight.
Right.
Right. Like, how do I get myself out of the situation to win this fight?
I think it's more credit to Usman because he put him, like he took him away of his comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah. To me, the look that Tyron had wasn't like, oh, what do I do? How do I get out of this to win this fight? It was like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. It was going to be a long night for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll see, man. If he wins the belt and he wants to move up to 185, by all means, go for it.
Yeah.
I would not tell him not to. Like, go for
It
it.
would be interesting to see if he makes a transition this late into his career and starts using his wrestling a bit more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.